When the 3DO burst onto the scene in late 1993, there wasn't much to play. There was the pack-in titled Crash and Burn, some demo discs, and that was pretty much it. It would take months for more stuff to make it to retail, but once it did, the 3DO started to look a lot more attractive. 1994 was full of stuff that was incredibly playable, from the outstanding Super Street Fighter II Turbo port to the killer app that was 32-bit Road Rash. 1994 was also the year we received the very first 32-bit John Madden Football. As most of you know, Madden had already become a staple in the American diet of sports video games. It started in 1990 and quickly grew into one of the largest franchises of its day, commanding yearly updates that were purchased by millions. As a brand new owner of the 3DO, I was looking forward to the 32-bit update, which promised digitized assets, full motion video, and a polygon-based stadium. It made its way out in May of 1994, developed by the same team that gave us Madden 94 on the Sega Genesis, High Score Productions. In this episode, we are going to take a look at it, see if it's any good, and is it worth a play today. Hope you guys enjoy my review of John Madden Football for the 3DO. Genesis veterans will be right at home with 3DO Madden. The control scheme is very similar. Before the snap on offense, you can call an audible to change the play, or snap the ball to run the original. Once the quarterback has the ball, you bring up the passing window, which shows you the available receivers, or you can toss the ball for a run if that was the plan. As the play unfolds, you can dive, spin, and attempt to power through a tackle with the oomph button. There's also a fair bit of strategy to some of the clock management on offense. Besides the traditional timeouts, you can also spike the ball to stop the clock, hurry your offense into position to get the plays off faster, or even signal a fake snap to try and draw the defense off sides. The quarterback can put a different touch on his passes as well. If your receiver is under tight coverage, you can zip the ball into his hands with a bullet pass, or you can lob it up high to give him some time to leg out the distance. Defense has many of these same controls. Audibles are there if you see a formation you can take advantage of, and you can switch players to get the best matchups. Bottom line is this: if you are familiar with Madden on the Genesis, it'll take you about 60 seconds to adjust to this, and you're off to the races. Game modes are thin but serviceable. There's 1 and 2 player matchups across preseason and regular season. Playoffs are single elimination and 1 player only. The preseason here is sort of like a practice mode where the AI is set to very easy. It allows you to get used to play calling before you start a regular season and things get a lot tougher. And speaking of play calling, like the 16-bit iterations, Madden on the 3DO is loaded with some seriously deep playbooks on both offense and defense. Play actions, hooks, quick outs, posts, sneaks, you name it, and you'll likely find some variation of it. The defensive side offers similar depth. There is also an instant replay system in place that allows you to view any play after it takes place. You can run it at full speed, slow motion, and even frame by frame. You can also control the camera around the action. The legendary John Madden provides commentary, which can be turned off should you not appreciate the addition. Finally, you can save either your season or playoff progress to the 3DO's memory. Madden on the 3DO has graphics that are a mix of digitized two-dimensional sprites and textured mapped polygons. The players and most of the on-field detail like umpires and field markers are two-dimensional, while the field and stadium are your three-dimensional polygons. In 1994, it was a nice looking presentation that was quite the upgrade over what we had seen on the 16-bit consoles. Not everything is 100% perfect, however, even for the standards of the day. When it comes to animations and performance, things get a bit dicey. Many of the animations are a tad bit jittery and unlifelike, and once that is combined with the not so smooth frame rate, Madden on the 3DO is a somewhat bittersweet proposition as a showpiece for what was next generation hardware. Even back then it was something that was noticeable, especially if you just came from the far smoother feeling Madden that was on the Sega Genesis. In 2026, this will be a hard one for many of you to stomach, as it affects gameplay to a degree. But for all of its questionable animations and rocky performance, it still looks damn good for something that came out in the first half of 1994 in North America, a year before the Saturn, and even longer before the PlayStation. It also has a number of great touches like video clips, lots of voice work, and a UI that is colorful and professionally presented. Despite its issues, I thought it was a fairly well done game graphically for a first attempt to bring Madden into the new generation. This was no small thing, as Madden 96 failed to materialize on both the Saturn and PlayStation a year later due to quality issues. Fortunately, the graphical issues of Madden 3DO do not flow over to the sound. This one sounds awesome, and no console football title before it even comes close. The crowd, the players' grunts and groans, and even Madden's commentary was all crystal clear. Here's a few seconds of it so you can see what I'm talking about. Madden on the 3DO serves as the connective tissue between the 16-bit games and ultimately what the series would become on the Saturn, PlayStation, and Nintendo 64 a few years later. While I can tell you much of it was great at the time, there is no question there are some serious growing pains here. The performance was choppy at the best of times, and if I'm being honest, it was rather slow considering how fast things moved along on the Genesis. So much so that I imagine a great many fans of Madden will play this and come away dissatisfied with the experience. But there was also a next generation appeal to all of this. The color and detail was fantastic back then, and its modern appeal resides in the fact that no other Madden football game on the market looks or plays like it. It exists in its own bubble, a snapshot of 3DO uniqueness that not many gamers got to experience at its original release. For those of you wondering whether to play it or not today, I say it's a good one to try out. You will have to deal with the differences in rules and divisions for the NFL in 1993, but in trade, you get some additional best of all time teams to play around with. Sadly, while the NFL license gives us the real teams, the lack of the NFLPA license means there are no real players here. You get players identified by their numbers only. That was a huge letdown back then, but in the 30 years since, it's not quite the deal breaker it once was. And that really is the gist of this. Original 3DO owners with fond memories of it will still hold it in high regard. Newcomers may love it for its highs and lows as a product of the Wild West of 32-bit game development. Or they will come away hating it as just another example of why the 3DO failed. Overall, I enjoyed it back then, and while that has lessened over the years, I can still get a good game out of it every so often for nostalgia's sake. It's a fairly important piece of history for the genre and the 3DO platform, especially considering how rocky Madden's 32-bit start was for the other consoles.
after you throw an interception, you have to guard against losing confidence.
Madden 3DO reviewed very well in the magazines of the day. I couldn't find a bad review of it in any magazine I know. GamePro thought it was excellent enough to give it nearly perfect scores in every category. Game Informer and Next Generation loved it. Heck, even the big overseas magazines rated it like a champ, calling it nothing short of outstanding. To hear the voices of the day tell it, much of what I complained about here didn't exist at all. Experience and personal preference is a hell of a thing, and for that reason, I really do recommend you give this one a go. Not only is the 3DO library short on games in general, but it doesn't exactly have a ton of sports titles specifically. If you are looking for something else to consider, both FIFA and PGA appeared on the 3DO and are quite excellent as well. Ultimately, I feel Madden is sort of the perfect embodiment of the 3DO experience. Some of it was awesome, some of it was okay, and some of it was downright crappy. It's a funky mix of 16-bit gameplay and 1993 next-generation technology, and you know what? I sure am glad I was there to see it. I'm Sega X. Thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you next time.